Australia, Mr. President, you asked for 3.5% increase, like 5% you did with NATO. Australia has only gone to 3%. Are you satisfied with that decision? Would you?
Well, I'm not happy with Australia because they were not there when we asked them to be there. So Australia,
what did you ask for?
Australia was another one. They were not there, having to do with Hormuz, the Hormuz.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
But why specifically? Do you still have a good relationship with the Australian Prime Minister?
What message do you think the ceasefire in Lebanon sends to the UK and the other European allies who chose not to get involved in the war?
Well, you know, we spend trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO, and when I asked them to get involved on a much smaller situation, which is Hormuz and Iran, they weren't there for us. Remember what I said? They weren't there. None of them. They weren't there. So we were there on Ukraine. I mean, we shouldn't have been. It would have never happened if I were president. But nevertheless, when they've had problems over the years, we were there. When we asked them to get involved on a very minor skirmish by comparison to what it could be, they weren't there. So I don't think they'd be there for a large skirmish, and therefore I think they've got themselves a problem.
Do your policies like no tax on tips, no tax on overtime show that the Democrat Party is no longer the party of the working class and the Republican Party under your leadership actually?
I love this question. This is the greatest guy. Look how handsome he is. What a great guy he is. Yes, the Democrats don't know what they're doing. They want to tax everybody out of business. They want men playing in women's sports. They don't want voter ID. They don't know what they're doing. We've had an unbelievable run, and the people getting their tax returns, and they're coming back, and they're ending up getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more than they thought possible.
Do you think the Pope was being disrespectful?
Back on the stage.
The Pope. Do you think he was being disrespectful to you?
I don't think about it that way. The Pope has to understand that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And the Pope has to understand that you can't let a country kill 42,000 protesters, totally unarmed protesters. You can't do that. So the Pope, you know, I know his brother. His brother's MAGA all the way. You know that. Louis is a great guy. But the Pope has to understand you're not allowed to kill 42,000 protesters who are totally unarmed. And you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, or the entire world could be gone. And, you know, when the Pope realizes that, I think we'll have a different understanding.
Does energy dominance mean that Europeans should be buying more gas and oil from the United States?
Well, they should be buying more from us, and what they should be doing is using the North Sea. I can tell you, UK, I've been telling that to your Prime Minister, UK should open up the North Sea. It's one of the greatest in the world, and they should use it instead of buying oil from Norway and other places that use the same source. They should use it, and they're not doing it. They're doing windmills, and windmills do one thing. You know what they do? Put you out of business.
Or the regional leaders about the peace deal or the peace talks about
We're dealing with everybody. We're dealing with all of the leaders on many different subjects. We're very close to a deal with Iran. Thank you.
All right, so that was the American president just before he boarded his chopper, talking about a whole host of different issues, expressing his optimism about the ceasefire that he's announced between Israel and Lebanon. When he was asked whether he thinks that this ceasefire can hold, he said that that's the way he wants it to be. And he also spoke about the progress that he says is being made vis-a-vis Iran, although he did not give any timeline or an indication that there is going to be a second round of talks with the Iranians. But the ceasefire that's been announced for Lebanon appears to be a stepping stone in many ways to try and take out those issues that the Americans can resolve quickly so that the conditions can then be laid out for potential talks with the Iranians. Some very interesting developments happening there at the White House. And Donald Trump, as ever, being very patient with reporters and answering every single question that was posed to him by the White House reporters.